Welcome to the Paint With Me series, Art Journals, a sneak peek into studio practices of all types of artists and musings on life for authentic, sophisticated souls. I'm your host, Caroline Karp. Let's get to it. This episode, number 1, I'll be virtually traveling over the way to Cambodia to the studio of my friend Morrison. Hey there, Morrison. How are you this morning?
Hey, it's good. I just had a coffee. It's morning here for me, so nighttime
It's
for
night
you?
here for me.
Yeah.
So, Morrison, I want to tell everybody that the way that we know each other is through the International Online Art Collective.
Correct.
And other places, but that's the place where we've been kind of collaborating together and putting our artwork out into the world. But I'm so interested in the kind of artwork that you share, and I want you to just choose some stuff to tell us about because it's all fascinating to me.
Well, I like the point that we've never actually met.
I know.
And we've become like great friends online, and that's great. And trying to tee up a time to do this has been quite difficult because it's late for you, early for me, etc., etc. But this is the beauty of the world we live in at the moment. The same as my art. My art is black and white on paper, a French watercolor paper I'm using, and I use an ink. Now, living in Cambodia in a small country town, which is actually the second biggest city in the country, but it feels like a small country town, there's not many things I can get here. So I have to, over the last 6 years I've lived here, make everything that I want to use. So for instance, furniture polish. I've had to make my own beeswax furniture polish. That was fun. When we first moved here, I couldn't buy milk for a week or two every now and then. So I'm a latte drinker, so that's important. Yeah. With my art, I wanted to use an ink, but the only ink I could buy was a really crap, cheap ink at the stationery shop across the road. So I worked with a village in Hanoi, outside of Hanoi, half hour from Hanoi to Halong Bay. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours. It's a UNESCO paper village. They make their own paper, their own colors, but I work with them on their ink, and they make ink from bamboo leaf. So they collect the bamboo leaf, they dry it, they burn it, they sit it on water for a year, and then they have their ink. Now, living in Cambodia, I chose to use the lotus flowers to make my ink. So I only use the flowers that have been offered at the temples. So everyone goes to the temples and they give the flowers and they say their gratitude to the Buddha. So the next day they get thrown away. So I collect those flowers and I turn the petals into ink. So I dry them, I sit them on rainwater for a minimum of 1 year, and then I add fixatives. So this is the remainder of my 2017 batch of ink. There's not much left. That can still last for a while. So this is the consolidation of hundreds of people's love and gratitude. So I'm talking more about the technique, not my art. Yeah. So with my art, this one's falling to bits. Look at that. It's about 4 days old, but that's okay. So with my art, I do a form of pointillism. So this is the stalk of the lotus. So I get a nice. Don't cut myself. I cut. And can you see?
I can.
That's a very bad cut. I wouldn't use this one. So I'd not use a nice straight cut.
How many circles are in there?
There's 7 holes in each stalk.
7 holes.
Or 8 or 9. So it does vary. It does vary. Yeah. So with this stalk, I then grab the ink pad with my ink and I ink it. And then on the paper, I go dot, 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 dot. I'm a dot artist. So there's an enlarged version from a piece of cardboard.
Yes.
So that's basically what it looks like. So it's the accumulation of ink on the end. It's the pressure. It's the amount of time, or it's the little bit of ink and just a little tap on the paper So this is the
Right.
technique that I've developed in the art.
Yes, and I purchased a book from you.
Yes.
I'll be getting in the mail all the way from Cambodia, but I'm so excited to actually hold and feel a book.
And this is number 132 out of 200.
Wow, okay.
So, just like my art, my background is weaving. So when you weave, you need to count constantly. And what I found when I was doing my art, I was actually counting in my mind the number of impressions of the lotus stalk I was actually doing.
It's probably quite meditative, I would guess.
It's calm. Yeah, I do find it relaxing and nice to do. I do really enjoy it. It is fun. But every piece of work that I create is a Chinese shan shui that I've done all in the points. You can see what they look like.
Yes.
Every piece that I do now, I actually sign with the number. So the very first piece I signed with the number, August 1, 2017, had 580 points. And on New Year's Eve, I reached the accumulation of all the work. So every work I do, I add, and that number gets bigger and bigger. So New Year's Eve 2019, last day of last decade before 2020, 500,000.
Wow.
This piece here is my largest individual piece.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm a metric boy, 1.70 square, 20,184 dots. That went to New York, that piece.
Wow, which part of New York? New York City?
City, yeah. Private gallery. So let me talk to you about my numbers. So as I do the work on the side, I work like a printer. One row,
Right.
2, 3, and then I complete the work. But when I get to the end of a line, that number's in my head. So I jot it down on the side of a piece of paper. And then these numbers reflect each row of the specific painting.
Right.
So when I finish the painting, I tear these off, put them into Excel, and I come up with a total number. Wait, which way's up?
That's right.
4,531. So this painting is titled 4,531. So
now,
this is all my paintings. This was my Bangkok exhibition.
Okay.
And this was my Phnom Penh exhibition.
So when you sell a piece, do they get that tabulation?
These are mine. Don't steal them from me. No. The artwork itself has a story, it has feelings, it has emotion. But for me, to produce the work, I really enjoy the data. I really enjoy the numbers. So I have a goal of 5,000,005 Lotus impressions or dots.
Does that mean something?
Well, I want to do 1,000,001, so a painting of 1 dot.
Okay.
And then do a painting of 2,000,002, so it'll be a painting of 2 dots, 3,000,003, 4, and 5,000,005. So I estimate about 25 years, depends what's happening.
Yeah.
And then I'd love some exhibition of a painting of 5 dots. 1 dot, 2 dots, 3 dots, 4 dots. Yeah. So people are coming and go, oh my gosh, what is this? And I go, oh, this is 30 years of my life.
Now, if people wanted to find you, what is your website information?
Under my name, morrisonpolkinghorn.com. I know that's really easy to spell, but Morrison P for Polkinghorn, so morrisonp.com will also get you there. YouTube, okay. Instagram.
And I'll put that in the show notes or the description. I'll put your information there. Sure. And is there anything else you want to share with us before we?
I'm having fun. Today is Monday, and it's the start of the week, but living in Cambodia, there's no real weekdays, weekends anyway. So
quickly tell me what's behind you, because I'm fascinated with what's behind you.
Okay. So in the States, in Australia, we have something called Salvation Army.
Yes.
It's like secondhand stores, etc. So in Cambodia, we have something called Sakura, and Sakura are Japanese products. So sent containers from Japan, sent, and then sold off at a cheap rate. These are Japanese boxes, which this green one here, I've got some of it with pickles, etc., etc. So they're tin lined, and I just store things in there. It's taken me about 3 years to fill this entire wall of boxes. So guess what's in that one?
Ink? No.
Toothbrush, soap, etc. We have a hotel here as well, so this is storage for the hotel. Nice.
Well, I want to tell everybody that I'm going to be trying to do these with other artists, not only artists, but like musicians and types. So it'll be for all types of artists. And this was our maiden voyage. So thank you for joining me.
Well, it's like, as I say in my book, I talk about the numbers and why numbers are important to me. When you're working on a blank piece of paper,
yes,
it's a blank piece of paper. There's nothing there. But the reality, there is something powerful in zero. But the hardest thing is to make number one.
Well, this was it.
2, 3, 4 just follows on from there. So congratulations on your number one, Caroline.
Thank you. And I'm going to take us off live, but we'll stay here. So just hold on.
Bye, all.